Hey babies. So I woke up today and I inquired of the Lord, should I go this way or should I go that way? And it kind of opened up into a meditation about some things I've actually been wanting to touch on for a while. Proverbs chapter 5 says, the ways of the Lord are before the eyes of the Lord, and he pondereth all his goings. And I was just feeling into that and just not getting any feedback about what straight and narrow path that there is that I should plod today in order to bring about God's holy, perfect, and pleasing will upon the earth. Surely there must be an exact strategy for these things, right? But you know what? Psalm chapter 119, verse 96 says that we will walk about at liberty. And I remember being in a conundrum back around the time that I departed from the company I was working for. And it was really daunting that I felt led out. But I was in a circuit, and I was in a routine, and it was becoming really mundane, and there was more important life issues that were ahead of me that I needed to tackle. So I did, and I left that job. And the Lord really encouraged my heart at that time about going about at liberty. We will walk about at liberty. And I'm in a similar vein maybe right now. I mean, more than just getting up and wondering, I want to do something with the day. Do I go here or there? I am in the process of winding down with family estate issues, and have said goodbye to my mama, and dad died 3.5 years ago. And now it's like I'm daunted by the freedom. It's just like, do I go this way or do I go that way? What do you have for me, Lord? And there is a big pregnant pause a lot of times when we're seeking the Lord about, should we do this or should we do that? And I get from that silence that sometimes the silence of the Lord will speak volumes to us, because he's waiting for us to make a decision. He's the one pondering our goings. And I perceive that that's kind of chafing to some fundamentalist types that think that there has to be a verse in the Bible for them to act on anything. And the whole vital, interactive flavor of our goings and our conversations with the Lord is kind of drained by that outlook. I think that they look at somebody kind of living by the seat of my pants, flying by the seat of my pants, kind of impetuous, kind of unpredictable. It's kind of been my pattern. It's been observed by naysayers for a lot of years. And in certain circles, it's just like they've got this idea that living in freedom is like Cartman from South Park. Like, I'll do what I want. I'll do what I want. We do what we want. If we weren't doing what we wanted, we wouldn't be free. And there is a place where, not my way, but your way, Lord. Not my will be done, but your will be done. And I'm not talking about going out and challenging the Lord. And I mean, what is rebellion? Rebellion is a sin of witchcraft. The prophet Samuel said that. Rebellion is a sin of witchcraft. Which just means that you are not convinced in the goodness of the Lord, and that you're independent and have to take things on for yourself because getting things done, adhering to the precepts and ordinances and restrictions of religion aren't going to get anything done, and you're not going to get by under those pretenses. So you got to take things in. That's rebellion. It's a completely different animal here when we're talking about walking about at liberty. It's a completely different animal here when we're talking about knowing the love of Christ in all the height and the depth and the width and the breadth of it. I am reminded of St. Augustine, who poignantly stated that there is this liberty. He said that there is a requirement upon us. It's love God and do what you want. So isn't that beautiful? Love God and do what you want. If you're in a love relationship, if you know that God is bursting out paths for you, if you know that he's hewing out habitations for you, Proverbs chapter 8 says that he's hewing out habitable places to delight in the sons of men. In the created order, he remembered and he charted courses for us so that we would go out in them and discover him in the unknown, in parts unknown, in undiscovered countries, in situations that may make us uncomfortable, where we have no bearings and there's like questions about the future and things like that. These are places that God delights to excel in, to show up and to take us by the hand and lead us. And it's exciting. It's an adventure. And it makes me scratch my head, because there are those that are in rebellion. There are those that are headlong into the occult with these this impugning of God's goodness. They're in rebellion because they're constantly impugning God's goodness. They think that God is consistently vexing them and resisting them and straightening their paths and putting restrictions upon them. The tenet of Satanism, Anton LaVey, the whole of the law is do as thou wilt. Well, I think that maybe Anton LaVey needs to have a little sit down heart to heart with St. Augustine, talking about this business of doing as thou wilt. You know what I mean? Why if Satanists are so chafing against law, if they're trying to throw off restrictions, if they're ensconcing their own dogma in some sort of ordinance and precept, what difference does it make? They're just creating another law. The Apostle Paul said that when the law came, sin revived and I died. I mean, the preaching of the law, making laws, actually stimulates sin, and you get the opposite. This is a spiritual principle. Get this. You get the opposite outcome when you make something a law, when you make something outward, you make it a restriction or a requirement upon yourself. So the whole of the law is to do as thou wilt. Okay, then you're going to be totally not free then, because as you go out doing as thou wilt and making it a law instead of operating out of love, like the Apostle Paul said, or like St. Augustine said, you're just going to get the opposite outcome. You're just going to be in bondage. And it's nuts. You impugn God's goodness. You don't believe that he is good. You're not going to love him, and you're not going to see the true breadths that he will break out before you. And you're going to take you'll be left to your own devices. You'll be independent. And it just leads you headlong into bondage. Satanism is bondage. And all the flavors and delineations and denominations of it. I mean, there's lots of people out there that are adhering to satanic doctrine and are living, just for themselves and thinking, and some of them are actually confessing the creed, do as thou wilt. It's a whole of the law. It's like, well, whatever. Do you love God? You know what I mean? You love God. I mean, there's much broader breadths to go out in upon. Out of a heart of love, out of an expanding heart. Just love God, babies. Just love God.